Hi guys, and welcome to our very first Sunday slot, teen edition. This is the first one that we've done so far, so please bear with us as we learn together and muddle through. We recognise that these are really difficult and challenging times, and that it's really important to still have a space where you can go and kind of continue with some of the stuff from everyday life, and that is why we have created these videos as a form of fellowship, so we can continue to learn and explore together. So we're just going to get right in there for the first one, and today's theme will be looking at suffering a little bit, and about how God is in that, or how God could be in that, or how your faith might help you through challenging times. So I'd encourage you as we go along, where I suggest that you pause the video, then please pause the video to think about and reflect on some of the questions that are going to be asked. So I want to start with a little bit about Kelly's faith. Kelly had started the year full of optimism. She was due to sit her exams in the summer and had been predicted great grades. She had just passed her driving test and she had met the most amazing boy, and things really seemed to be going somewhere. She thought she might be falling in love. So on New Year's Eve, Kelly was brimming with excitement about the coming months. Things didn't quite work out that way though. First, Kelly's dad suffered a massive stroke, and while he suffered it, he was hugely debilitated by it. Then, Kelly caught her so-called Mr. Perfect kissing one of her best friends at a birthday party. The relationship was finished at that moment, and Kelly began to wonder what kind of year this was going to be after all. Then, just as she was preparing to take her final school exams, Kelly's car was hit by another driver, and she too had to spend some time in hospital. Although she wasn't likely to suffer permanent side effects, both of her arms were broken. There was no way she would be able to sit her exams now, meaning she would also have to defer her university place. So, by the summer, this had proved to be one of the worst years of Kelly's life. Yet, incredibly, she was able to find comfort in her faith. While many people might have been angry with God, or even begun to believe that the world was simply governed by ruthless fate, Kelly decided that God still had a plan for her life, and that he would teach her something through all this, that he was going to use all this pain for good somehow. By the following New Year, things hadn't really improved. She still had trouble writing, she was still single, and her dad's recovery was slow. Yet, her friends were amazed that the one rock in her life was her constant belief in Jesus. While she had been shaken in so many ways, her faith had remained intact, and by the end of the year, many of her friends had seen their faith grow through her example. It's a really interesting story, and maybe one not many of us can relate to, or maybe some of us can, which is amazing. Just thinking about some of my experiences in the past and how times of suffering and times when it's been really hard has kind of shaken my faith, and reflecting and thinking I wish I had Kelly's faith, that God's got me and it'll work out. So here are a few questions that you might like to pause the video and think about after each question. Are you surprised that Kelly retains such a strong faith in God? Why? How do you think God had perhaps already started to use Kelly's situation for good? And what do you think went through Kelly's head as her suffering began to pile up? Some of us watching this video will already have a little bit of faith, and some of us might not. And some of these questions are here to help us think a little deeper about how we might link our faith and suffering, and how that sits with us and how we think about that. So a question to help us dig a bit deeper, and again, you might like to pause the video after each question to help you reflect and help you think. How does suffering affect your faith, if you have one? And have you ever seen excitement and hope dashed? What did it feel like? And how did you respond? Now, after you've taken a bit of time maybe to think about those questions, we're then going to go to the Bible and have a look at a Bible passage that has been suggested that we look at. And this is taken from 2 Corinthians, I believe. And let me just